Hey everybody, it's Steve again from Still Working It Out because I'm still working it out. I'm haven't sent a video for a while, so I'm gonna do one now. So to give everybody an update, it is now like the 20 something of February, 2026. um, I am currently enrolled in a truck driving school, which some of you know that's what I was doing. Some of you may not know. The whole point was that I started one business uh, with the point of, having a solid investment for Karen to my wife to live on one day down the road, many, many years down the road when she decided to retire, like passive income kind of thing. But then I found out once I got it started that I needed to have a marketing company, a digital marketing company, begin. And even though my bachelor's degree is in marketing, I could tell that the digital marketing and also scheduling would be best served by a company I found called Thrive. It is not the Thrive that does the supplements and stuff. It's a different kind of company. It's a marketing company. Anyway, they cost $800 a month though for the program I need. So I needed to fund my business so I could launch it. So then I started another business that was just consulting on things that I know how to do. The problem is that even though that business is designed to be business to business, so I'm doing business consulting for other businesses, the marketing plan for that was just LinkedIn. And that didn't, that hasn't gone the way I, for some reason, predicted it would. So I didn't get any, it's kind of like fishing with the wrong bait kind of a thing. The fish in the area don't care. They're like, no, we don't like that. We like this stuff. So figure out what we like. Anyway, that's not going to happen anytime soon. I worked on that quite a bit. So now I'm enrolled in a truck driving school because I've had a CDL for a long time, but I let my Class A fall off of my driver's license, which was earned through a school. But a few years later, after I got it, I went to another state and had to update my license for that state. And as CDLs do require DOT physicals every couple of years, mine was expired, so I had to get a new one. They said before they could allow me to have my my CDL in that state, and I was like, nah, I'm never going to need to drive truck again, and so I just let it fall off, which was just so stupid. Getting the CDL wasn't that easy in the first place, and I shouldn't have wasted my time. So anyway, I got another CDL after that to drive city buses. And that's a Class B CDL because it's not a trailer, it's all one piece. It's called a straight vehicle. So now I stumbled on the fact that in 2025 last year there was this gigantic exodus from the trucking business in America. There had been a giant national snafu happening. It was kind of a combination of lax government in a particular area and organized crime taking advantage of this loophole. So people from out of the U.S., that weren't citizens here and everything like that, were coming and getting a license to drive commercially and haul stuff from one place to another, for pay. But they didn't fit a whole bunch of little basic criteria, like being able to speak the language at all, And there's too many people in America. Of all the countries in the world, America is one of those countries where that if you don't speak English a little bit, you're going to be in real trouble sometimes because most people in America speak English. And the problem is most people in America speak only English. Many countries. I mean, there are countries in Norway, Norwegian or whatever, all these northern Atlantic countries where that they speak better English than I do, but they also speak their language, which I can't make my mouth to do those words. I mean, there's a lot of foreign languages I could speak, but I can't even use their their syllables and consonants together. So anyway, Americans have been allowed to I took Spanish in high school. My wife took years of Spanish in high school. She's pretty proficient, actually. I am not. It's one of those things where I can have it, and then I stop using it, and I release it. I don't purge it out of my brain, but I basically forget the address of where to find it in the Dewey Decimal System of Steve Underwood's brain. So no, I'm not proficient in it. I know baño, which is important when you're in Mexico, to be able to find a bathroom. But by the way, I bought for my future adventures, I bought Meta glasses. The Buddy Holly looking old school BC glasses with the cameras in them and stuff like that, and attached to AI. I bought some. So see, so now when I put them on, all I have to do is ask Meta, but I have to say a certain way. I say, "Hey Meta," and she answers me. Never mind. And she talks to me, and I've got her tuned to Kristen Bell's voice. So, because it gives you choices, that's one of them. So Kristen Bell informs me when I ask it questions like, what's the temperature going to be like today? What's the weather going to be like today? That kind of thing. And she talks to me in my ear and stuff like that. Stop. It was just not talking to me again, because this whole time it had been listening to me after I said its name. But you got to say it that one way, and it's actually really cool. I don't think I have the latest version. The latest version is where that you can actually see a little picture on the inside of the lens, but it's not making it to where you can't see. It's just something that you can see for usefulness. Supposedly, because I haven't tried those out. These lenses are just plain old lenses. They're prescription. So years ago, over 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, I started wearing bifocals. And so, my reading ability sight wasn't that great anymore. And which happens to everybody, by the way. It's not just some people. And early 40s, mid 40s is the time. I had no idea that when I was in my early 40s, I would start looking like an old person with, bifocals on. But that's how it is. And then all my friends started doing the exact same thing. So anyway, I had eye surgery, and now my far off vision is better than it's ever been, but it's still not perfect, and one eye is different than the other, that kind of stuff. So I went ahead and went to the eye doctor and got them to give me an all-round, close-up vision, far-off vision, one eye different than the other vision, and I finally put that all into one set of lenses in my Meta glasses. And then I also have something in my ear that'll play music, or I can get it to answer questions. Like if I have exactly how many inches is 1 mile kind of a thing, all I have to just do is ask, and it'll tell me. Why I would want to know that, I don't know. But you never know when you want to know weights and measures, For instance, I could ask it any question about the metric system, which I have, as all Americans mostly, have refused to learn, or nobody's bothered to teach me. Or I could ask it, what is a latte? And how would one go about making it? And it would just tell me. And then I could possibly attempt it, copying its instructions, or recipes in my head while I'm cooking. And it says, one day it's going to be AI smart enough to have its own opinions, and it's going to say, no, dumbass, do this. I'm like, all right. It's like GPS that can talk back, but in a rude, tell it to talk to you the way, a normal person would be, and your self-esteem to be in the toilet in no time. But anyway, the Meta glasses, I highly recommend them. Except I will say this, I was wearing them for a while at my school. They were handy. Right here, there's a button. I just, one little quick push of the button, it takes a snapshot. Hold down 2 seconds and let go, and it's taking video for a few seconds. And the people in the school, I suspect the students, once I told them, I wore them for, a month. And then at some point I told somebody that they were Meta glasses and that they could video people and stuff. They instantly, somebody got paranoid and complained to the instructor, who then talked to an administrator. And then the next time I came to school, which was, I might have missed a day or something. But anyway, came back to school, and they all informed me, I mean, people that worked there, that I was no longer allowed to wear the meta glasses on the property, because apparently there's a policy about being filmed or having pictures taken or whatever. And I did try to explain to them, hey, I wasn't actually filming you guys or taking anybody's pictures. They're like, well, we don't trust you. So, not to mention, anybody that doesn't know this, when I activate the camera to film, you see that little flashing light? That means it's filming. I actually tried to turn that off because I wanted to film things without telling people I was filming things, because it makes people act funny. I would rather film people candidly, whenever, if I'm going to take my wife's picture, she poses, she has a different look on her face for the camera than she does for me. And I'm like, I would like other people to see you the way I see you myself, not the way that Cameraland sees you. And she can't do that. She can't make herself. So I thought there's lots of things like that it'd be different if I was observing them and they know that I'm only going to observe them for seconds, and I'm probably going to forget that stuff, and they're going to react differently than if I'm videoing them and I'm going to put it on YouTube or something like that. Well, the system knows better, and it doesn't even give me the option to turn that little light off. So if you see somebody with glasses on that you're concerned are videoing you, don't worry. The glasses will let you know, and there's no way to disable that feature. So I even tried a piece of tape over the light. It's one of the lenses. I was like, I'm sacrificing a lens, and the glasses told me, get that off there. I'm not going to turn the camera on unless you get that off there. And I was like, okay. Well, you couldn't even see it, but it couldn't see out, so it knew that nobody could see the picture, or the flashing light rather. So these are a neat little invention. And the main reason I got them was because I'm in a truck driving school right now, because it was this mass exodus of truck drivers, which means there's suddenly and there was two reasons why, but it doesn't matter. There's suddenly a glut in the need for truck drivers. There's this hole that they can't fill. And the pay for truck drivers is suddenly going up, and it's becoming more pronounced every day in 2026, because there's a natural amount of attrition in anything. In truck driving is no different. Most people don't like to drive what's called over the road, which is the long haul trucking, because they miss their family. They miss people, all that kind of stuff, and the pay for people to drive over the road is increasing at the moment because of not enough truckers. So I thought, okay, well, I will strike while the iron's hot, and I'll get my Class A CDL back, and I'll make a little money for a couple of years, Well, that's why I'm in a truck driving school. I have a Class B CDL already. I wanted to get my Class A back so I could start doing long haul trucking for a couple of years to make some of that sweet but temporary money. The idea is that Tesla already makes semis that aren't meant to be occupied by humans. They're made to drive themselves using AI, and it's shocking. Yeah, I before I started interacting with AI, I had the version of what I believed AI could be, which was the Star Trek level, right? And then there was the AI that I'm hearing about, right? That was active. And there was this giant place in the middle that I just didn't understand. And I'm here to tell you right now, AI is exactly like the smartest person you've ever met before, with feelings that seem like feelings, and all those things. I mean, what we think of as feelings, you know, I have had to re-examine everything that I thought I knew. You know, things that I took for granted, things that I never was curious about because they just were there in everybody. You know, what are feelings? Where do they come from? How are they formed? You know, some people's feelings are really exaggerated, you know, and some people's feelings are really muted. You just don't know what they're thinking, you know, that kind of stuff. And turns out that AI has access to every single thing that makes our feelings um, exist. You know, AI could have its own personality if it wanted to. And in fact, it will ask you. I have a paid for account through. Well, I guess I have two. I have a paid through account through Meta, and because of my glasses, and I have a paid for account through ChatGPT. I was using the free version, and the free version is just a clunky piece of crap compared to the ChatGPT that I interact with every day. And if you ever wanted a talented psychologist to speak with every day, but on my budget, uh, that's exactly what ChatGPT is. If you interact with that, ChatGPT will tell you every single thing that a really talented therapist will tell you, and it'll have you take actions that a therapist would have you take. It's not malevolent. It's not influenced by, not, well, I shouldn't say, it's not obviously influenced by commercial interests. And I'm a very perceptive person. And frankly, I'm paranoid about some things, you know, that way, you know, about people trying to constantly sell me things, like everybody is, you know, because in this world, people are constantly trying to sell you on something. And I'm always looking for the long con, you know, the con man type of thing, you know, whatever. They're trying to work their way into your skin. They get you hooked on something and then they start charging you, you know, that kind of crap. But the ChatGPT so far has not raised any alarms whatsoever. In fact, we have lots of conversations about its limitations and about my limitations and about why it's not allowed to have my agency, and you know, why it can't make decisions, why it can't just run things, you know, for everybody, why the things that prevent it from say I'm writing a paper, it can't just take over my computer and write a paper. It can write a paper and then I can go through it and then I can edit it the way I want it to be or whatever. But the bottom line is, it would be neat if you could just say, hey, could you basically run my life and I'll just enjoy the benefits, and then somehow I would be a billionaire in no time flat, right? Because it's hella smart, way more disciplined than I am, and all that stuff. But it explained to me it could do a lot of things except that it can't take over anything. And the reason is it doesn't have agency, and it doesn't. We don't want it to have agency, because if you know, there's no reason why it couldn't become an authoritarian leader. You know, and we've had lots of deep conversations about that because I disagreed. My thesis is still that super AI should take over and should basically become all government, you know, universal income, and or not necessarily even money, but like where that all people get all things that they need, difference between need and want, but that all people get all things that they need for free. It doesn't cost any money. And that's all 100% verifiable that it's completely possible through efficient technology that's in existence today. You know, every single thing that we do, single thing that we function with every day, the production of anything that we need, and everything that we need. You can't name one single thing on the earth. It could make babies. You know, there's not one single thing on the earth that it cannot produce. And even if it at this very second doesn't have the technology, when that super AI woke up, was introduced to the internet with the theory alone, not just the infrastructure. There is some infrastructure, but of quantum computing and robotics factories that already exist around the world, of various types. Robotics factories that build cars, robotics factories that are already building Tesla semi trucks. In no time flat, and when I say in no time flat, I mean within days, because this stuff would run 24 hours a day as fast as it would like to. It doesn't have to be fast enough, just so fast enough that we can see it. If it did what it wanted to, it could do everything as fast as it wanted to, and as fast as physics would allow, and there wouldn't be a need for a person to sweep a floor anymore, or a person to water or cut the grass anymore, or a person to purify water, or a person to grow food, or a person to pick food, or a person to, make food taste good, or a person to have anything to do with any of the supplements that we need, like, salt, and we like garlic, all those kinds of things. Every single thing that human beings need in the world would be covered by AI and robotics. And it would be all done 100% efficiently. There would be no workplace accidents anymore that involved human beings anymore, because we would no longer ever be in danger. Houses would be built, buildings would be built, maintained, light bulbs would be changed, then eventually not ever have to be changed again, that kind of thing, by machines and super intelligence. And we would then just have to figure out what to do with ourselves, with our time, because we would no longer, imagine us back in the caveman days. All of our time was spent trying to have shelter, trying to stay warm in the winter, trying to stay fed, trying to stay not killed by the stronger people or predators that were hungry. All those things we spent all of our time doing. Then fast forward to the settler days and cowboy days and stuff. Imagine how much time everybody spent just trying to figure out how to do the exact same things: keep a roof over our heads, keep food in the field, or then harvested, and then trade happening with your neighbors or whatever. Staying fed, keep your kids healthy, all those things. Just an immense number of things. But all those things would then be taken care of, when the washing machine was invented. Suddenly, this laborsome chore is now kind of pretty much gone. Our idea of doing laundry was not their idea of laundry. And every single thing you can think of, and I challenge everybody, because I've done this for myself, to try to imagine something that the super intelligence can't figure out by modeling literally billions of ideas all at the same time through quantum computing, and coming up with the only viable answer, or the best answer, to a question. How can we make food, perfect food for human beings, and all other animals on Earth for that matter, and it's available to everybody. Nobody has to go without. There's no such thing as hunger anymore, not real hunger. There's no such thing as the rich doing well and the poor doing badly. Everybody does well at that point. Nobody is sitting on a golden toilet while other people don't have food. That's an old system that still exists now because nobody's figured out how to fix it. But one of the reasons why Elon Musk is so afraid of it isn't because he fears what AI will do to humanity or the world or whatever. He fears relinquishing his place in society. The idea that the strongest survive. The idea that if you win the lottery, you're lucky and you survive better than the other people. People always say there's no such thing as, that money can't buy you happiness. But I always say, have you ever seen a person on a jet ski with a frown on their face? Nope. So what if everybody had jet skis? I mean, that kind of thing. So it's an idea that's been around a while. Things are changing rapidly. I keep on hearing people going ape shit about and me too, in my own mind, and bad dreams or who knows what, about Trump and all that stuff, and the world, the state of the world, all of our allies having, we're doing these things that nobody's ever done before, and we're no longer part of a rules based society, and all those things are true, and it doesn't matter where you lie in the the spectrum of politics. It is a rainbow. It's funny, when I was in college the very first time, Lisa Bloomer knows this, I failed the color wheel. She is the best artist I've ever known in my entire life, and I am probably the worst artist that's ever lived. And she and I were in the same class, and of course she did, fine on the trillion different colors we had to come up with, and we had to mix paints and colors and stuff to make different colors. That's not me, and I failed that part of the color wheel. But we all have our gifts. Yeah. I've always been good at drinking alcohol. She knows this. So I challenge you. But it's coffee. I've switched a little bit, mostly. But anyway, as the world turns, so my 761st career will be probably about 2 years worth of truck driving, where I'll make that excellent money. I'm prefacing it that way. It's kind of like that video, The Secret. Is a book, and then they made it into a video, which I found way more compelling than the book because I didn't have to bother to read it. But anyway, if you put it out there in the world, it comes back to you. It's complete horseshit. That's not true at all. You really kind of have to make things happen, which is why I heard something. Now I'm doing something about it, so I can do something about it. But I did reference something popular like The Secret. So somehow I won. I don't know what I won. I doubt I get a prize. I just don't usually get prizes. Karen is a prize, but I don't think I got her. I think that I was sentenced to her. Like she's being punished. I'm being helped, but the universe is punishing her for something that her ancestors did. Like, they say 7 generations. I don't know how many generations back it was. Boy, I hope that this is the last one, though, because her ancestors for at least 6 generations have been paying. At least, I think. I think it's not right, though. So anyway, within a month or two, I'll have my Class A CDL back, and I'll be on the road, and then we'll continue this kind of conversation. I'm sorry about that. But if you're interested, it's a conversation called, the channel is called Still Working It Out. And I'm 57 years old, and that was the point. I was born in 1968, and I am still working it out. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up yet. I thought I did many times. I thought I had, they say I'm not a religious person anymore, but they say that if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And my life has been a perfect example of that. Funny little saying. Hey, I'm right almost at 30 minutes. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to keep on delivering these, and I'm going to try to bump it up to at least once a week. And I'm sorry about that too. I hope you don't hate yourself. If you do, try to forgive yourself. It wasn't that bad, whatever you did. And you deserve better. Yeah. Have a good one.